Okay guys, in this final practice activity, we are going to use our last screen, the one that's called populate list. As you can see, the label that we had in the other screens has changed for a list viewer because now we are going to populate a list using a loop. So verify that you have a list viewer and not the label. Now on this part, we're going to create an app that populates a list with certain amount of teams. Kind of like an easy way to say that you have 10 teams and then you're going to populate a list with those 10 teams. It's going to be really useful if you want to do an app that kind of like creates a playing format or a division championship or a championship for anything that you want to do, and you want to create an app that kind of like shuffles down all the teams into different formats. You can start with populating the teams that are going to play. So we're going to go to the block diagram, and we're going to start by creating, of course, a variable, a list variable. So I'm going to create a team list, and I'm going to initialize it to an empty list where I'm going to populate all the teams. Then I'm going to have another variable, an integer variable with the number of teams. This is going to be a variable that is going to be stored when you put the text input message. Okay. After that, we are going to, when button one click, which is the one we always use, the go button, we're going to start creating our program. First thing to do, grab that information from the text input and store it into num teams. That's the first thing. That's the first thing you got to do. So after you have updated that variable, we are going to go ahead and create a for loop. This is a for loop that is going to start at I, which is a variable. Remember, I is an iteration. It's just a variable that is going to count. Okay, starting at one position, ending in another position. Okay, so we're going to start from 1, which is the first position of the list, all the way to the end or the number of teams that I want the championship to be, depending on what I write down. And I am going to increase this iteration by 1. Remember that this is information for the loop to run, okay? So it's going to be 1. The number of times is going to be depending on the number that you input. So after I created the for loop, after I have created the for loop, I am going to use my inList activity or my inList function, and I'm going to say from the team list, insert at last position, and this is what I want to insert. I want to insert the word team, then I'm going to join it with a space with the I. Remember, I stores the iteration, okay? That iteration is going to be 1, and it's going to go all the way to the last team number. Finally, in order to see what the list looks like, after it ends the loop or goes out of the loop, I am going to click on list viewer text items, set text items, and I'm going to set the items that are on the list to whatever the list is populated with. So let's go and take a look at how this works. So I'm going to click on preview, and the only thing that I need is the number of teams. So let's say I'm going to make 10 teams. So I should get team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4, team 5, team 6, because that is the population of the teams. So you can see I get team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4. Now I can use, or I can continue my app with now that I have all the teams populated, I will be able to start playing or creating the different positions using conditional statements, etc. This is a really cool app that you guys can already do. But what happens if I continue and I add 5 more teams? Now if I click on go, now the list is going after the team 10 is going to start populating team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4, team 5. Now I have 15 teams, but now I have duplicates of team 1 at the first position and at the 11th position, okay? So what can you do in order to change this, in order to fix this, to get more teams? This is your job, and see if you can fix it.